spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties upon the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Hi, y'all. My name is Amanda Zarowski.
And I'm Josh Zarowski.
In the spring of 2022, we were thrilled to find out I was pregnant with our first baby, a girl. But at 18 weeks, I suffered severe complications.
We were with 100% certainty going to lose our baby girl.
What I needed at that point was an abortion. so that I could safely and with dignity deliver our daughter and begin our healing process.
But under the extreme Trump abortion bans in Texas, doctors were forced to wait until Amanda's life was in danger before treating her. After 3 long days, Amanda developed sepsis and nearly died. She spent 3 more days in the ICU fighting for her life.
Donald Trump is responsible for what happened to our family and countless others. He brags about it, saying he's proudly the person responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade. Let's be clear. If given the chance, he would go even further and ban abortion in all 50 states with or without the help of Congress.
So to every voter out there, every family out there, we must stop them. To all my fellow men, show up for the women in your life and vote for Vice President Harris.
We can choose a new generation of leadership, a brighter future with Vice President Harris and Governor Walz. They won't stop fighting until they restore and protect reproductive freedom in all 50 states for every single one of us.
I'm Ryan Wilson. I'm a proud Atlanta native, entrepreneur, and small business owner. It takes more than just hard work to start a business. It takes a whole lot of money, too. I'm sure y'all know who understands that, though. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is a champion for small businesses, a champion for entrepreneurs. She knows that small businesses are the lifeblood of our communities and the engines of our economy. Her policy would be a game changer for entrepreneurs. A $50,000 tax cut to get off the ground. Cutting unnecessary red tape to make it easier to grow a business. Making sure that folks that have had historic barriers accessing capital receive the support that they need. Now, these aren't the typical policies of a politician. These are the policies of a leader who cares about making our lives better, someone who is committed to listening to the people that they serve, taking good ideas from wherever they come from, and developing common sense solutions focused on getting things done. And what would Donald Trump do? Well, if it doesn't help himself or his billionaire friends, Donald Trump isn't interested in it. America deserves a leader in the office behind me that is going to fight for the people every single day. Not someone interested in himself or his personal grievances. So in 7 days, we're going to turn the page on Donald Trump. And then we're going to do something special. We're going to elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States.
My dad was my hero, but he wasn't just a hero to me. Hollywood even made a movie about him and his fellow service members. Just 6 days after the attack on Pearl Harbor, he enlisted in the Army Air Corps. Lieutenant Harry Crosby became the lead navigator of the Bloody 100th Bomb Group. He served under brutal conditions and flew 32 combat missions. He fought fascism. He was fortunate to return home alive. Of the 140 men he deployed with, all but 3 were killed or captured. These heroes are the men Donald Trump disrespects and calls suckers and losers. Trump even calls our fellow Americans enemies from within. Those who know Donald Trump the best are sounding the alarm to say he's unfit to lead. His former chief of staff, a four-star general, his own national security advisors call him dangerous and unfit to lead. We need to listen to them. I'm here honoring my dad because we ought to turn the page on Donald Trump's fear and division. I'm here because it's time for a new generation of leadership. Kamala Harris will be that leader. She'll honor those who serve and sacrifice on behalf of our nation. She's got a deep respect for the Constitution and the rule of law. And I'll be thinking about my dad, my hero, when I cast my vote for our next president, Kamala Harris. Thank you.
My name is Teresa Acosta, and I'm a single mom of 3 very busy teenagers. My youngest was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes just after his 6th birthday. He needs insulin in his pump every day just to live. When I lost my job in 2020, I lay awake at night, terrified to be losing both my income and my health insurance. But the Affordable Care Act caught us from a free fall. Even though my son has diabetes, a pre-existing condition, he qualified for a plan, and I could afford the insulin and medical care we rely on to keep him healthy. Donald Trump wants to rip that away. He's promising to terminate the Affordable Care Act and throw my son off of his health care. I know these are not empty threats. He was only 1 vote away from actually repealing the Affordable Care Act in his first term. And let's make that his only term. For my son, the consequences of this election could be life or death. But Kamala Harris doesn't just represent the alternative to Trump. She represents a new generation of leadership, fighting for a future where every American has access to affordable health care. She'll strengthen and expand the Affordable Care Act, ensuring that kids like my son have the right to health care coverage. She's already fought against the drug companies to cap the cost of insurance, of insulin and prescription drugs for our seniors. But now, that's right. But now she will cap it for all Americans. That's the kind of leader we need in the White House. She will turn the page, so we will turn, all of us, will turn the page on Trump, y'all. And we are going to elect Kamala Harris, who will fight for all of us, just as hard as I fight for my son.
My name is Dr. Lakeisha Hallman. And while I'm a proud Atlanta resident now, I grew up in a small town of Batesville, Mississippi. My grandmother still lived in Mississippi. And when I call to check in, I hear about things they are worried about. It's no different from my friends in Atlanta and many families across America. They're worried about grocery prices, affording medicine, and paying bills. But the other things that they talk about is the hope that Kamala Harris brings them. How they feel she cares about them and their overall well-being. How she's capped the cost of their insulin, and how they know that she's going to do even more. My grandmothers are right. Kamala Harris is fighting for all of us. From my grandparents in small town Mississippi to young families that's just getting started in Atlanta, she is fighting for all of us. When she talks about building her opportunity economy, she's talking about an economy that will actually work for all Americans. Because Kamala Harris believes it's not enough to simply get by. She believes that we all must thrive. Donald Trump wants an economy that works for he and his billionaire friends. He doesn't want to lift us up. He wants to pass tax cuts for billionaires and stick the bill on us. He's done it before, and he will do it again. So let's finally turn the page on Donald Trump. And as President Harris will do what she's always done, she is going to deliver for us. She is going to deliver for the American people.
Hello, my name is Craig Sicknick. My brother was U.S. Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick. He was a hero. Brian died after defending our country on January 6th from Trump's insurrectionists. My family knows how dangerous Trump is. He incited the crowd to riot while my brother and his fellow officers put their lives at risk. Now, Mr. Trump is promising to pardon the convicted criminals who attacked our Capitol, killing my brother and injuring over 140 other officers. This is simply wrong. We need a real leader, and Kamala Harris is that leader. I've had enough of Trump's politics of chaos, anger, and hate. It has real and dangerous consequences for all of us. It's time to turn the page and choose Kamala as our president. And Brian, we miss you every day.
Hello, my name is Jenny Poon. I am a daughter of refugees. I'm the founder of a small business, a co-working space in Phoenix, Arizona, that I founded with my husband. And a very proud parent to these two wild and wonderful children over here. This is Ada and Oaken. I don't think they've ever seen this many people in their entire lives. As a parent, I worry about expenses every single day. When I was pregnant with Oaken, I looked at the expenses that were piling up, the groceries, the bills for health care, the groceries, and I thought to myself, how are we ever going to be able to afford this? And I'm not alone in this. So many of us, business owners, friends, families, carry these growing costs, and it only is getting harder. Kamala Harris cares about the answers to these questions. She knows what it's like to grow up in a middle-class family, sitting at a table, watching her parents struggle to figure out how these bills are going to get paid. That's why she's taking on price gouging, to lower the cost of groceries, her plans will cut taxes for the middle class, and she'll work with developers and home builders to build more homes, making it affordable for every American to own a home. She's expanding support to small businesses like us and to the thousands of businesses I see in my space. Soon, every small business, anyone who wants to start something, will have the ability to do so. To think, nearly 40 years ago, the landmark legislation HR 5050 made it possible for women to create or get loans and bank accounts in their own names. I was 5 when that passed. And today, I was able to get a loan. Well, 10 years ago, I was able to get a loan and accomplish something that my parents would never be able to do: get a loan to get a building. In my name, which would have been impossible in my mom's time. Before that, wealth was only built through men. Today, women run our homes, they run our businesses, they run our cities. And soon, they'll run this country. And yet, after all of this running that we're doing as women, Donald Trump doesn't think we are capable of making our own decisions about our bodies. Kamala Harris will protect and expand our rights and bring America forward, not back. For when we support women, when we support our families, we support our communities. This election, we have a chance out there. We have a chance to elect someone who sees us as more than birthers and vessels to their own wealth. Someone who protects women and families. Donald Trump wants to take us back, but to my daughter, for those who fought for us to get to the rights that we have today, we are never going back. I wish I could take credit for that line. That wasn't mine. Vice President Harris cares about every American like they are family. And I'm frankly tired of being the stepping stone for others to get rich. While Kamala Harris is fighting for us, Donald Trump couldn't care less about families like us. He's never known what it's like to worry about groceries and how much groceries even cost. His plan for a Trump sales tax would send costs skyrocketing, costing families nearly $4,000 a year for basic necessities. You've heard it again and again today. We need to turn the page on Trump. And the fears I had talked about, earlier, the costs of diapers, Kamala Harris knows that too many families are worried about the same thing. That's why she's fighting for a $6,000 tax cut for parents with newborns. And a $50,000 tax credit for anyone who wants to start a business. I can't even begin to describe how life-changing that would have been for me and my husband when we were starting. So we have an opportunity to make history and create a middle class that thrives in America. So when Odine and I went to the polls, we actually mailed our ballots because we're in Arizona. Woo! We voted for the only candidate that treats every American as family, Kamala Harris, or as my daughter would call her, Auntie Kamala, every time she sees her on TV. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Bob Lang.
And I am Christina Lang.
Christina and I are farmers from Chester County, Pennsylvania. We live on our family farm that's been in my family since 1896. And we have been lifelong Republicans. I voted for Donald Trump twice. It made sense because I was a Republican, and that's what we did. I got to tell you though, Christina was way ahead of the curve. She only voted for him once. But it's very clear that Donald Trump doesn't care about helping hardworking people like us. He only cares about what's good for him and the super rich people that he touts to. He's too focused on seeking revenge and retribution to care about what we need. We deserve better. It's time to turn the page.
We deserve a leader who will bring people together and fight for the middle class. Not someone who tries to divide us. And that's why Bob and I are both proudly voting for Kamala Harris. Never in a million years did I think that I would be up on a stage like this, supporting a Democrat for president. But enough is enough. After nearly a decade, it's time to turn the page on Donald Trump and his chaos and division. We've got to move forward. We've got to elect someone who is in the fight for the regular working people and who will get things done, like a middle-class tax cut or help with the sandwich generation, the ones who care for their kids and their aging parents. We've got to elect someone who will take us forward and not backward.
There's more at stake at this election than in any other election in my lifetime. And the choice for us and for millions of Republicans across this country is simple. My message to the millions of undecided voters, many of those Republicans, it's time to turn the page on Donald Trump. Kamala Harris will be a president for all Americans. Let's elect Kamala Harris!
Thank you.
say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please welcome Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Good evening, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives. Thank you, everyone. So listen, 1 week from today, you will have the chance to make a decision that directly impacts your life, the life of your family, and the future of this country we love. And it will probably be the most important vote you ever cast. And this election is more than just a choice between two parties and two different candidates. It is a choice about whether we have a country rooted in freedom for every American or ruled by chaos and division. Many of you watching have probably already cast your ballots. But I know many others are still considering who to vote for, or whether you'll vote at all. So tonight, I will speak to everyone about the choice and the stakes in this election. Look, we know who Donald Trump is. He is the person who stood at this very spot nearly 4 years ago and sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol to overturn the will of the people in a free and fair election. An election that he knew he lost. Americans died as a result of that attack. 140 law enforcement officers were injured because of that attack. And while Donald Trump sat in the White House watching as the violence unfolded on television, he was told by his staff that the mob wanted to kill his own vice president. And Donald Trump responded with 2 words: "So what?" America, that's who Donald Trump is. And that's who is asking you to give him another 4 years in the Oval Office. Not to focus on your problems, but to focus on his. And Donald Trump has told us his priorities for a second term. He has an enemies list of people he intends to prosecute. He says that one of his highest priorities is to set free the violent extremists who insulted those law enforcement officers on January 6th. Donald Trump intends to use the United States military against American citizens who simply disagree with him. People he calls, quote, the enemy from within. America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power. Donald Trump has spent a decade trying to keep the American people divided and afraid of each other. That is who he is. But America, I am here tonight to say that is not who we are. That is not who we are. That is not who we are. You see, what Donald Trump has never understood is that e pluribus unum, out of many, one, isn't just a phrase on a dollar bill. It is a living truth about the heart of our nation. Our democracy doesn't require us to agree on everything. In fact, we like good arguments from time to time. Just think of your own family, right? It's not the American way to not have disagreements. We don't shy away from robust debate. In fact, we like a good debate, don't we? We like a good debate. And the fact that someone disagrees with us does not make them the enemy within. That's right. They are family, neighbors, classmates, co-workers. They are fellow Americans. And as Americans, we rise and fall together. America, for too long, we have been consumed with too much division, chaos, and mutual distrust. And it can be easy then to forget a simple truth. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. It is time to stop pointing fingers. We have to stop pointing fingers and start locking arms. It is time to turn the page on the drama and the conflict. the fear and division. It is time for a new generation of leadership in America. And I am ready to offer that leadership as the next President of the United States of America. Now look, let me say, I recognize this has not been a typical campaign. Even though I've had the honor of serving as your vice president for the last 4 years, I know that many of you are still getting to know who I am. Well, let me tell you, I am someone who has spent most of my career outside of Washington, D.C., so I know that not all the good ideas come from here. I am not afraid of tough fights against bad actors and powerful interests, because for decades, as a prosecutor and a top law enforcement officer of our biggest state, I won fights against big banks that ripped off homeowners, against for-profit colleges that scammed veterans and students, against predators who abused women and children, and cartels that trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. And I did this work because for as long as I can remember, I have always had an instinct to protect. There's something about people being treated unfairly or overlooked that frankly just gets to me. I don't like it. It's what my mother instilled in me, a drive to hold accountable those who use their wealth or power to take advantage of other people. The drive to protect hardworking Americans who aren't always seen or heard and deserve a voice, and I will tell you that is the kind of president I will be. And look, I'll be honest with you, I'm not perfect, I make mistakes, but here's what I promise you. I will always listen to you, even if you don't vote for me. I will always tell you the truth, even if it is difficult to hear. I will work every day to build consensus and reach compromise to get things done. And if you give me the chance to fight on your behalf, there is nothing in the world that will stand in my way. So look, in less than 90 days, either Donald Trump or I will be in the Oval Office. Okay? On day one, if elected, Donald Trump would walk into that office with an enemies list. When elected, I will walk in with a to-do list, full of priorities of what I will get done for the American people. And I will work with everyone, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, to help Americans who are working hard and still struggling to get ahead. I have been honored to serve as Joe Biden's vice president. But I will bring my own experiences and ideas to the Oval Office. My presidency will be different because the challenges we face are different. Our top priority as a nation 4 years ago was to end the pandemic and rescue the economy. Now, our biggest challenge is to lower costs that were rising even before the pandemic and that are still too high. I get it. I still remember our mother sitting at that yellow Formica table, late at night, cup of tea in hand, a pile of bills in front of her, trying to make it all work. And I've heard from so many of you who are facing even greater financial pressures. Donald Trump's answer to you is the same as it was the last time. Another $1 trillion in tax cuts for billionaires and big corporations. And this time, he will pay for it with a 20% national sales tax on everything you buy that is imported. Think about it. Clothes, food, toys, cell phones. A Trump sales tax that would cost the average family nearly $4,000 more a year. And on top of that, you will pay even more if Donald Trump finally gets his way and repeals the Affordable Care Act, which would throw millions of Americans off their health insurance and take us back to when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. Well, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back, because we also know Donald Trump would deliver tax cuts to his billionaire donors. I will deliver tax cuts to working people and the middle class. I will make sure you have a chance not just to get by, but to get ahead. Because I believe in honoring the dignity of work. I will enact the first ever federal ban on price gouging on groceries. Cap the price of insulin and limit out-of-pocket prescription costs for all Americans. I will fight to make sure that hardworking Americans can actually afford a place to live. I'll never forget how our mother saved up and how excited she was when she could finally afford to buy our first home. I remember how excited she was. And I know that owning a home is not only a measure of financial security, it's about the pride of your hard work. And as president, I will fight to help first-time home buyers with your down payment, take on the companies that are jacking up rents, and build millions of new homes. For years, we have heard excuses about why America can't build enough housing. Enough with the excuses. I'm going to cut the red tape and work with the private sector and local governments to speed up building and get it done. And the cost of housing isn't the only financial pressure on middle-class families. I have met so many young people who have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not always the resources to do it. So I'll fight for a child tax credit to save them some money, which will also lift American children out of poverty. I'll work to lower the cost of childcare, which is out of reach for too many working families today. And for too many people in the sandwich generation who are raising young children and taking care of a parent, juggling all of it is extremely difficult. You know, I took care of my mother when she got sick, cooking food that she had a taste for, finding clothes that would not irritate her skin. And understand, as I do, that caregiving is about dignity. It is about dignity. And currently, if you need home care and you don't have some money to hire someone, you and your family need to deplete your savings to qualify for help. That's just not right. So we're going to change the approach and allow Medicare to cover the cost of home care so seniors seniors can get the help and care they need in their own homes. Now, Donald Trump has a different approach. He tried to cut Medicare and Social Security every year he was president. Look, I believe that when people have worked hard their entire life, they deserve to retire with the benefits they have earned. And I believe in the fundamental freedom of Americans to make decisions about their own bodies and not have their government tell them what to do. I will fight to restore what Donald Trump and his hand-selected Supreme Court justices took away from the women of America. That today, 1 in 3 women in America, think about it, 1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban, many with no exceptions even for rape and incest. The idea that a woman who survives a crime of a violation to her body should not have the authority to make a decision about what happens to her body next, that is immoral. That is immoral, and Trump's not done. He would ban abortion nationwide, restrict access to birth control and put IVF treatments at risk, and force states to monitor women's pregnancies. Just Google Project 2025 and read the plans for yourself. And look, I think we all know one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to simply agree the government should not be telling her what to do with her body. Not the government. And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom nationwide, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Proudly. And look, on another subject, politicians have got to stop treating immigration as an issue to scare up votes in an election, and instead treat it as the serious challenge that it is that we must finally come together to solve. I will work with Democrats and Republicans to sign into law the border security bill that Donald Trump killed. When I was Attorney General of a border state, I saw the chaos and violence caused by transnational criminal organizations that I took on. And when I am president, we will quickly remove those who arrive here unlawfully, prosecute the cartels, and give Border Patrol the support they so desperately need. At the same time, we must acknowledge we are a nation of immigrants. And I will work with Congress to pass immigration reform, including an earned path to citizenship for hardworking immigrants like farm workers and our dreamers. As Commander-in-Chief, I will make sure America has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has shown his contempt for our nation's heroes, calls them suckers and losers, called a 4-star Marine general a, quote, lowlife. I will always honor, never denigrate, the service and sacrifice of our troops and their families, and fulfill our sacred obligation to care for them. I will strengthen, not surrender, America's global leadership. And I will stand with our friends because I know that our alliances keep American people safe, and make America stronger and more secure. Look, world leaders think that Donald Trump is an easy mark, easy to manipulate with flattery or favor. And you can believe that autocrats like Putin and Kim Jong-un are rooting for him in this election. I will always uphold our security, advance our national interest, and ensure that the United States of America remains, as we must forever be, a champion of liberty around the world. America, we know what Donald Trump has in mind. More chaos, more division, and policies that help those at the very top and hurt everyone else. I offer a different path, and I ask for your vote. And here is my pledge to you. I pledge to seek common ground and common sense solutions to make your life better. I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress. I pledge to listen to experts, to those who will be impacted by the decisions I make, and to people who disagree with me. Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table. I pledge to you to approach my work with the joy and optimism that comes from making a difference in people's lives. And I pledge to be a president for all Americans. And to always put country above party and self. I love our country with all my heart. And I believe in its promise because I've lived it. I grew up as a child of the Civil Rights Movement. My parents would take me to marches in a stroller, where crowds of people of all races, faiths, and walks of life came together to fight for the ideals of freedom and opportunity. I've lived the promise of America. I saw how hard our mother worked to give her daughters the same chances this country gave her. Growing up, I was blessed to have family by blood and family by love, who instilled in me the values of community, compassion, and faith that have always defined our nation at its best. I've lived the promise of America. I've spent my life fighting for the people who have been hurt and counted out, but never stopped believing that in our country, anything is possible. I've lived the promise of America, and I see the promise of America in all of you. In all of you. I see it. I see it in the young people who are voting for the first time, who are determined to live free from gun violence and to protect our planet and to shape the world they inherit. I see it in the women who refuse to accept a future without reproductive freedom. And the men who support them. I see it in Republicans who have never voted for a Democrat before, but have put the Constitution of the United States over party. I've seen it in Americans different in many respects, but united in our pursuit of freedom, our belief in fairness and decency, and our faith in a better future. America, I know the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. I know it. And that's why I am in this race, to fight for the people, just like I always have. Nearly 250 years ago, America was born when we wrested freedom from a petty tyrant. Across the generations, Americans have preserved that freedom, expanded it, and in so doing, proved to the world that a government of, by, and for the people is strong and can endure. And those who came before us, the patriots at Normandy and Selma, Seneca Falls and Stonewall, on farmlands and factory floors, they did not struggle, sacrifice, and lay down their lives only to see us cede our fundamental freedoms. They didn't do that only to see us submit to the will of another petty tyrant. These United States of America, we are not a vessel for the schemes of wannabe dictators. The United States of America is the greatest idea humanity ever devised. A nation big enough to encompass all our dreams, strong enough to withstand any fracture or fissure between us, and fearless enough to imagine a future of possibilities. So, America, let us reach for that future. Let us fight for this beautiful country we love. And in 7 days, we have the power, each of you has the power to turn the page and start writing the next chapter in the most extraordinary story ever told. I thank you all. God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.